Welcome to Misty Homestead. It's been a little while since I've been on here. How are you? I am sitting on my screened-in porch. I was going to sit outside because it's cooler today than it has been, and cooler than it's going to be. It's going to be in the 90s next week, and today it's not going to get above 81. So I am trying to do a few things that I haven't been able to do. Very first, let me explain why I have been gone. I've done a few videos, but they've been mostly just videos of like the goats or different things like that. They haven't been me on here talking. That's kind of hard for me anyway. I'm always a little uncomfortable with that, but I'm learning. I'm getting better. I think y'all have to tell me. But my health, if you've been following me for a little while, you know that I have struggled with anemia for the past 2 years. I thought I had gotten better, and then it got worse again. So I kind of had to back up and rest. And I don't know if any of you had experience with anemia, but what it does to me is it makes me so exhausted that I can't really get off the couch. And occasionally I'll have a good day. Those are the day you did see some videos. And when I get out and then work in the garden or do some of the things that have gotten behind because I have been weary for so long, then the next 2 days I'm on the couch and can't do anything. So it has been a real struggle. I have cried a lot of days. Some days I cry trying to get up and get a shower and get ready. It's that exhausting. It makes you where you can't sleep. It makes your legs hurt, makes your legs feel heavy when you're trying to walk. It makes me lightheaded. It slows down your metabolism, and I've actually gained some weight. And this all actually started from probably, I had gastric bypass surgery in 2018, 2019, somewhere in there, and lost over 100 pounds and felt better than I had in years and years and years. And I do not regret it, even now. Even with the iron deficiencies that I'm struggling with, I don't regret it because I was on high blood pressure medicine. I was borderline diabetic at that point, so I had to do something. I had tried everything else. My metabolism had completely shut down. I think now, looking back, I may have had low iron deficiencies for a long time and didn't know it. Because I went back and looked at some of my old blood work, some of my old labs, and it's been not like it is now, or like it has been over the past 2 years, but it's been on the lower end of what was normal for a lot of years in my life, and I just didn't know it. I thought that was normal. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next. Anyway, I have finally broke down and went back to my bariatric doctor, and they sent me to a hematologist, which kind of scared me, and I put it off for a long time. Anybody who knows me, and you guys, if you are friends, family, or people who know me, you know I have an aversion to doctors and a little bit of distrust there, and I don't go until I absolutely have to. You're welcome to say I told you so, because many of you did tell me to go a long time before I did, and I tried everything else. Now I went to a local doctor. The doctor that I see is a nurse practitioner, and I like him really well. I trust him for the most part, and he put me on something called Ferrosite 325, and I took that for a long time. It got better shortly, got better for a little while, and then it got worse again, and just like stopped working at all. What I now know, after going to a hematologist, is that my body has pretty much stopped absorbing iron no matter what I do. So I am going Friday. Today is Wednesday, and I'm going in 2 days to get an iron infusion. And I am so excited about a medical procedure. Again, if you know me, you know that that's not normal for me. So I am going to have an iron infusion Friday, and another one the Monday after 4th of July. And they tell me that what will happen is I'll probably have a kind of an iron flu, feel bad for a few days, and then within about 2 weeks I'll start to get my energy back and start to feel better. And then over the next 3 months I should come back into what's normal. So y'all pray that this works. I am so excited to be able to feel better. I have piles in my house and piles in my yard, things I would never let accumulate like I have. And because I just have had to, when it got garden season this year, I had to make a decision just to do what I could when I could. So I would work 20 minutes in the garden, planting stuff. I had grandsons come and help me with what they had time for. Thank you, Jaden, Jet, and Logan. The husband helped me quite a bit, although he's had his own health struggles recently. But it's been a tough few months. And at this point, we have a new baby cow. I'll tell you about that. And there's just lots and lots to do. When you live on a homestead, there are things that you have to do whether you're sick or not. If you had the flu, you still have to feed a cow. Milk a cow. Everything has to be fed, and gardens still have to be watered and fertilized. And if you want them to grow, if you have baby goats that are bottle fed, you still have to bottle feed them. Those things don't change or go away. You have to do them whether you feel like it or not. So I've had to do what I had to do, and then I had to sit down some and rest the other time. So hopefully I'll be back on my game soon, and I'll be able to get back into doing, before harvest season, be able to do some heavy duty, preserving and making cheese, learning to make some new cheese again, and getting back to all the dairy products and learning all the fun stuff that you guys have enjoyed watching. So hopefully that'll happen soon. We will see. Now, my husband had about 1 or 2 weeks ago, had a neurological event happen. He went rafting, and after the rafting event, he ended up in the hospital in a whole nother county, an hour away. And he was in the hospital for I think 3 days, and they did every test known to man. Initially, he could barely talk. He couldn't lift his arms. He couldn't lift his legs. I thought he had a stroke. He had not had a stroke, apparently. To be honest, we still don't know what had happened. But he's going to see a neurologist, and we're still looking into it. When they released him from the hospital, they said didn't quite fit in the box, but they called it a provoked seizure. So hopefully that was a one-time event. He's still not 100%. So y'all pray for my husband. But now let's tell you what's been going on the farm. Hang on, let me get a drink. Hopefully you have your drink. I'm drinking iced coffee. You know, guys, I like my iced coffee. So, we had the 2 goats that were bred, and you probably have seen the videos. Hopefully you've seen the videos. They were some really cool, interesting videos. It was, for first time kidding season, we learned a lot of stuff. I did things with goats I never thought I'd do with an animal, period. Frankly, back to those people that have been watching and that know me, that have known me since I was young, most people would not ever believe that I would be preserving and gardening, and most certainly not milking a cow or other things that I've done with the goats, which I'm not even going to tell you right now. But I have learned to love this stuff. In truth, I guess it was kind of always in my blood. It was part of our family when I was growing up. The things that I didn't think I enjoyed back then, I have grown to love now, and I love more all the time. Like I said, I'm really, really missed doing all those things. But to be honest, I'm really proud of what I've got done this year anyway, despite me not having the energy, of a flea. I really haven't had any strength or energy at all. And I've just done little spurts and had help where I needed it, and got quite a bit done. So we had the goats. They had, so Trixie, the one with the horns, she had, this was her first kidding, and she had 3 babies. One of those was Esme. She's the one that became a house goat temporarily, and I just finished bottle feeding. So she's still a little sweetheart, and she ain't going nowhere. She's the little blonde one. And then Trixie also had 2 black ones. And then Priscilla, the dark one, this was her second kidding. She came to us with the baby. And I had actually milked her just a little bit, just when she had mastitis. She's not been milked much. That's the thing I didn't get to this year that I really wanted to. I wanted to milk the goats and to make some goat products, goat cheeses, goat soap, and all that kind of stuff. Maybe next year. Maybe I'll get to all that stuff when the next time. But Priscilla had 3 babies. And she's the one that she did not. She had 4 babies, and we lost one. And we tried absolutely everything to resuscitate that baby, because it had not stopped breathing long. It was still, actually, I guess when we got out there, it was still barely breathing. And we tried everything. We looked at YouTube and done all kinds of stuff to try to get that baby to live, and it did not. So she ended up with 3 babies, and she's been a good mama. It was a learning process in that the mama goats couldn't be together with their babies for about a month because they would try to hurt each other's babies, which was not fun, especially with Trixie with horns. Turns out Trixie was the sweetest goat we had. I think based on how she acted around Esme when I was trying to bottle feed her, I think Trixie may have been a bottle baby herself. So she's always been very friendly with humans. She likes to be petted and cuddled and that kind of stuff. However, she's not really a good mom, and she completely rejected Esme, and which is why I had to bottle feed her. And she ended up having a little mastitis. One of her teeth dried up, so that was the whole issue. Contemplating letting her go because she has gotten mean with the other. She's got one of Priscilla's babies, a dark colored one, the one I call Toodles. That has been her target. She targets that baby every chance she gets. So those babies are close to 12 weeks old. We have them on the market now. I posted a video about that last week. We're trying to find 4 of them homes. I'm going to try to keep Esme, and there's one that has a Y on its forehead. She's a female, but I've called her Yellowstone the whole time. I tried to rename her Bella, but Yellowstone's still what comes out when I see that little Y on her head. She's real sweet and real friendly. She's the friendliest of all of them. So I'm going to try to keep those 2. I may keep Toodles if I can find Trixie another home, if I can find that mama goat another home. We'll see. I'm still a little bit undecided about it. I love Trixie. She's sweet with me, but she's not good with the other animals. And she even was headbutting the new baby cow the other day, and that might get her killed. So we may need to find her a new home. We need goats that are friendly with all the other animals here on the farm, and that's mostly achievable. So anyway, the goats are good, and we're trying to find homes for 4 of them. They are Nubians, so if you know anybody, send them our way. We've got several people looking and that are interested now. One lady said she wanted all 6 of them. Said, nope, I've only got 4 going. So that's what's going on with the goats. I'll try to just put some video on here of them updated currently. So then, let's see, James got out of the hospital just a few days after he got out of the hospital. I went outside. So I don't remember what date it was. I guess he's 5 days old now. So less than a week ago, I went to open the front door one morning, and we call this Misty Ridge for a reason. It's real misty in the mornings here, almost always. And I opened the front door, and the pasture, I could see the one corner of our pasture from my front door, and I looked out there, and there was a cow laying down. And I looked for a second, didn't have my glasses on, and I think it turned out to be Jethro, the bull. And I walked out there. Should have taken my camera, y'all, because this would have been a really, really beautiful camera moment. I didn't. I always take my camera. I did not take my phone with me. So I walked out there and saw that it was Jethro, and just was kind of looking to, counting where the cows were. And I saw Maggie May, our dairy cow, up under a tree. It was misty rain that morning. And she was up under a tree. And I turned to start to walk away, and I looked back, and there was little legs under her feet, and I realized she had her baby. So I called James. I said, we have a calf on the ground. And I said, I think he's a bull. From where we could see, it looked like he was a bull. But I wasn't sure. Thought maybe it might be the umbilical cord. So when James got home, we went and pulled them both into the barnyard. And sure enough, he said, last year we had Izzy. I'll try to put a picture in. Izzy was her first calf. She was a little thing. And then this year we have our little bull calf. His name is Gideon. One of the very first things he did was the cows are in a like a 4-row barbed wire fence that keeps the cows in. Our neighbors behind us have hundreds of acres, and they raise beef cows, and sometimes they're back there and sometimes they're not. They wasn't that day, thank goodness. That little calf scooted. When we was trying to get him in, he got scared and scooted between he could have got hurt because there's a heavy duty electric wire on the other side for our neighbors to keep their cows from getting into our pasture, and he just scooted right under there, and we had to go chasing a calf. So we named him Gideon, and he's so cute. His daddy, Jethro, is a Dexter. He's a mini Dexter. He's a little guy when we first got him, we wasn't sure at all he would be able to get the job done with Maggie May because she's quite a bit taller than him. But he's done it twice. But he's a very friendly bull. You have to be careful with bulls because the way that they socialize is they kind of bully and push and shove and, headbutt and knock it, for them to come at me like that, it knocks me down. I've actually experienced that with him when I first met him. He wasn't meaning to be mean. I spooked him and he knocked the breath out of me. Jethro did. But he's got a really broad face and a broad nose. And across the fence, he's as friendly and sweet as he can be. And I really just love him. So the little calf looks just like him. He's a little redder. His color is really red. So I think he's going to be a little more like a Dexter. Maggie May, the mama, she is she's mostly Jersey, but she also has some Holstein in her. So the last cow, Izzy, looked like Maggie May, and she was sweet too, but this one's just very, very different. He's a little boy. He's not afraid. He'll let you pet him sometimes. I mean, very different characteristics. And already, one of the things I've found interesting that I didn't know before with cows is they can be very sensitive creatures. And this bull, Daddy, Jethro, he likes to watch over his babies. So at night, him and Izzy, and now I'm watching the same thing happen with him and Jethro. They'll sleep back to back with the barbed wire fence between them. At night, they sleep back to back. And if you're doing anything that makes that calf cry, he will just roar. He don't like it at all. So anyway, he's wonderful. Now, with all that said, that also means it's milking season again, which means we have to milk twice a day. And the last time she got mastitis, we got no milk for a good while till we got rid of that mastitis. It was a bad case. This time, so far, so good. We're doing really, really well. She's not kicking this time. She's being really good. And we're getting probably 3 gallons a day, I guess, currently. We've just started keeping it. In the beginning, it's full of colostrum. We saved some, put in the freezer just in case we needed it. And we don't like the taste of the colostrum, so we don't drink it until that goes away. It's thicker, richer, but and she's actually given a pretty decent amount of cream. A lot of times they hold back the cream for the baby. Now, when I'm milking and I start to get more than she thinks I should, I got to save something for that calf, she stops eating and turns around and gives me a look like, that's enough for you. So, at this point, I stop. 3 gallons a day is a lot for us and our family. And even if I wanted to make cheese, it's still quite a bit for now. I'm not quite able to do that yet, hopefully soon. But that's put it in another chore on our list. And I am not even gonna lie, some mornings it's really hard. In the evenings, I'm usually enjoying it a whole lot. I will say, going out this morning, Mondays and Wednesdays, my husband has to go to work real early, so we have to go up pretty early and do the milking before he leaves. And the sky was just orange before the sun came up this morning. It was just beautiful, beautiful back there. One of my favorite places to be is that in the garden or in the barnyard, either at sunrise or sunset. It's amazing. It really is pretty. So anyway, we have a new cow. We're milking, and hopefully I'll be able to get back into making cheese. I may have forgotten everything I knew. It's been a little while since I've made any. And somebody said the other day, was talking about making mozzarella. They'll see me making mozzarella again. And I'm like, guys, mozzarella is my least favorite cheese to make. They say it's the easiest, but you have to stretch it. This boiling it's boiling, furnace of heat with your hands, and it burns my hands. I've tried it with gloves. I finally have learned how to do it with 2 big old long wooden spoons. But mozzarella is not my favorite cheese to make. Currently, I guess it's either farmer's cheddar or Parmesan. But my husband has some other things he wants me to learn to make, and I do too. So hopefully we'll get to do that soon. Now, we have added some things to our orchard this year. While I couldn't do much else, of course, what do? You shop. So we have got 2 Nanking cherries, little bitty guys about this big, that we've got in the ground. We ordered a cotton candy grape. If you've ever had cotton candy grapes, you know. If you know, those are just so sweet and they're just delicious. And we seek them out when they're in season. So we've planted a cotton candy grape. We also planted 2 thornless blackberries. Now we have wild blackberries that we fight all over this farm. And in fact, I let the vines go over the back arch of one of my arches in the garden. And those are they're past ready actually to harvest. We need to get those in. The blueberries are coming in. It's time to start harvesting blueberries. And maybe I can make some jam, or maybe some pies, maybe some pie filling. We'll see. We usually get a lot of blueberries. The apple trees, we have 5 apple trees. They're not doing extremely well this year. They don't have many on them. We pruned them for the first time. We're still learning how to do that. We may have messed it up. We'll see. I don't know. The muscadines are coming along great. I'll show you all this. We'll do a walk around and I'll show you all this stuff in a little bit. Let's see what else from a berry perspective. I think that covers what we planted this year in the way of fruit. We planted a peach tree last year. They had a lot of peaches last year. This year didn't have any. Don't know why. So I'm trying to research and see what we did wrong. But my strawberries and my green stalk are growing, doing well. The strawberries. So what I try to do is on the green stalk on the porch. On the porch I have 2 green stalks. One is for garden candy and quick things that I did, like miniature tomatoes and peppers and trying to think what else is out there. Got some kind of melon I think out there, some herbs. The kids, insist that I have ground cherries and crap, I can think I'll have to show you in a little bit. But that's just stuff to eat off the porch. I'm trying a little smaller green stalk, like it's an imitation little thing I got off of Walmart to try to do some heat resistant greens, because I'm always real aggravated when it's tomato season and I don't have any salad greens. So we're giving it a try. I don't know if this will work. I've got them in a shady place on my porch. And they're growing, but we'll see how they do. I'll let you know. I don't know. But for my flowers, I have planted, I've got 2 side beds kind of behind me where the driveway is. That was kind of an eyesore, an area that James always mowed last, and it always aggravated me because it was too high, and that's where company came in. So I just decided to landscape those and turn them into flower beds. And one of them, there's a lantana that I just love. It's called Heartland Sunset, and I've had it 2 or 3 years ago and have not been able to find it since. Well, I found it on Etsy for a real good price, and I ordered like 5 of them and put them out. They're still kind of little bitty, but anything about lantana, they start kind of slow. And there's a saying about it, but they start kind of slow, and then they grow, and then they just kind of explode. So I'm hoping that's what happens with those. I also I've been looking for several years. If you watch Roots and Refuge with Jess, I've learned a lot of gardening advice and tips, and a whole lot of stuff from watching her channel. And she had at her old house before they moved to the new one had a rose called a tangerine skies, and it was gorgeous. Well, when she talked about it and showed how beautiful her was, everybody bought them, and you couldn't find them. And I've not been able to find them for 2 years. And I found them once, and they were like $75 or $100 each, and I couldn't do that. Etsy had them, a good price, so I ordered one. So I've got it in one of the side beds. I've got the lantana, and today I've planted 2 raspberry bee balms. One in one of these beds, one in my front bed, and I've got one that's still got to go. I'm going to have a U-shaped herb garden bed in the garden, and I'm going to take one out there because it's a perennial and it has medicinal advantages to it that you can use it for too. In my front garden area, I was going to do something different. I tried to experiment, and I just wanted to throw, but rather than landscaping, I just threw a whole bunch of seeds out. I mean, zinnias, cosmos, blue bachelor buttons, snapdragon, all kinds of stuff I threw out there, sunflowers. My experiment's been kind of a bust so far. I'm not really pleased with it. The bachelor buttons all grew up and got blue and then fell over and got ugly. So I pulled all those out. So I think what I'm going to do is start adding some other perennial flowers. So it's one of the things I just told you about, the raspberry bee balms I put out there, because it'll be a pretty flower coming back every year. I put a new rose. I'm looking for a white hosta. I want to put a white hosta in there because I think that would be really, really pretty next year. And then on the one corner out there, it's kind of shady in that area, so I put a Nico blue hydrangea, little bitty thing right now. So, and then I've got on the way They're called Pinky Winky hydrangeas, and they're the panicle kind, the long kind, and they're pink up to here, and then the tips are kind of white or light pink. So they're going to be glorious. However, I didn't have any clue. I saw a picture yesterday of a lady standing in front of hers, and it was like, I mean, huge. It was like 10 foot wide. So I may have I got 3. I may have gotten more than I have room for. We will see. I'm going to plant them, and we will see. It'll be interesting to see how those go the next couple of years. You know, we've got a lot of things. We'll see how they come across the next couple of years. So, and then to the garden this year, like I said, I have just gone kind of slow and done what I could. Last year I couldn't do hardly anything. I just didn't have it in me. I just couldn't. So basically when I got out to the garden this year, it had 2 years of neglect. I had not amended the soil, and I really didn't have the time or energy or money I didn't have the energy or money to get the big truckloads of compost that I normally bring in. So I started ordering bags and used bags a little at a time and put in there. Worked some places, didn't work others. My zinnias didn't hardly come up at all. I'd have a whole bed that I put zinnias out there. Of course, that bed also had an ant nest in it that I had to get out. I'm not sure why, but my zinnias didn't germinate very well. I just had a few come up. I've also struggled with germination in my I have a green bean arch. I planted rattlesnake beans on one side, Kentucky wonder beans on the other, and then in the beds I normally plant some kind of greens, Swiss chard or something like that. Those beds I think just need amending a whole lot more. They're not tall like my other beds. Both of those are just little beds, and I think maybe the nutrients have just all got washed out, and they need either to be made deeper. So the nutrients don't wash out as quickly. At the very least, they need to have a whole truckload of compost put in them, and a whole bunch of worm castings. They just need amending, I think. My tomatoes, I plant 3 rows of tomatoes. I plant a red bed where I plant different varieties that we enjoy. Paul Robeson being my favorite. And then I have a yellow bed that I plant Dr. Ricci's being my favorite. And there's a couple other varieties in there too. And then I plant 1 whole row of black cherry tomatoes just because we like them, and the kids call them, again, those are garden candy. They eat them like candy when they're out there. They're really sweet. They're yummy. But everything, I think I must have got everything planted late. It's just coming along really slow. So I have little green tomatoes on all of them. Don't have anything turned ripe yet. I think that's behind for my season, but it may not be. Maybe I just don't remember it. It's been a little bit and I've been sick, so maybe I'm right on schedule. I know the cucumbers are starting to ripen. I've had a few of those already. I plant the silver slicer. That bed always does glorious. I don't usually have any issues with that. I've got peppers coming along really, really nicely. I ordered and planted. I lost my rhubarb over the last 2 years. I had 2, and they both didn't come back. So I ordered 3, and this time instead of planting them in the ground, I got round beds and filled them up with good soil and compost, and planted 3 rhubarbs in there. Only 1 survived. I don't know what happened to the other, so I'll have to reorder 2 because I'd like to have 3 rhubarbs in there. My strawberries, so what I like to do with strawberries, what's in my head anyway, is that I have a pink green stalk on the porch, and I like to plant it with everbearing strawberries. So you have 2 kinds of strawberries. You have everbearing, you have Junebearing. The everbearing, just you have strawberries, you don't have as many, but they come on throughout the season. So those are fun for garden candy, for candy when you're on the porch and you just want a snack. And then in the garden, what I keep trying to do and keep doing very unsuccessfully is I want a bed of June bearing where I just have a whole flush of strawberries come on at one time. And what I want to use those for is preserving, doing jams and jellies and just saving strawberries. Well, let's see. The last 2 years, my cows have got in there and ate them down to where there was nothing left. And this year, I had not a full bed, but between how strawberries will they send their runners out, and I had some runners on the outside of the bed, and I dug those up and put them in the bed and cleaned them up and fertilized them and gave them some food and water, and they were doing really, really well. This year, initially it was a real mystery. I had something get in there and it ate several things that I had growing, and I could not figure out for the life of me what it was. it was little goats. I was sitting out there sitting. I have to sit to do some of this stuff right now. But I was sitting in the garden pruning the cherry tomatoes and tying them up. And Esme, my sweet little bottle baby, walked up, and I turned around and looked, and here come 3 other babies right behind her. So they had found a weak place in the fence and had gone out to the pasture and come in my garden and just made themselves at home. That may be what happened to my other rhubarbs. It didn't look like anything had been dug in there, so I don't really think so. But they definitely did a number on my strawberries. So I'm going to wait until fall to replant any, and I've got a couple of different kinds I'd like to try anyway. And this time I found a bed, a good sized bed, and I may order 2 of them that has a cover. So, because I have tried with the strawberries, and something gets in them or steps on them or eats them every single year, and I'm so over it. So we're going to order something with a cover to keep everything out of it, except us that want to be in it. So, but in general, like I said, I'm quite proud of a garden with, I probably have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, probably have 10 red and yellow tomatoes growing, and then a whole row of the black cherry tomatoes. So, and then the normal peppers are still doing really, really well. And I think I may not get the green bean harvest that I want this year. That's okay. I mean, next year will be better. Every year something. Gardens they're very fluid. You know, some years you have a whole lot of tomatoes, and some years you have a whole lot of cucumbers, and you know, you just take and you produce with what you have that year. But in general, I'm very, very pleased with where I am with that so far. Well, all right, y'all, I have talked way more than I intended to, and I am sorry it's taken me so long to get out here and do this, but I've got quite a bit to do today. I'm going to do a little garden tour, and then me and Logan dug up like 1,000 tiger lilies from my new dawn rose bed, and I want to move them up on the fence line. And I think he's going to come help me today to get those replanted. So I've got to do that, and my tomatoes, everything in the garden needs to be fertilized with fish emulsion. So that's right now is a job. It's a job for me. It's hard. So maybe Logan can come help me, I'm hoping. So anyway, let's go take a walk and look at the garden and see what it looks like. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. All right, let's go take a walk, and we'll first do the side beds, and we will take a look at what's going on out here. We will start with my porch. So I had 2 lantanas that came back. They weren't the colors I wanted. So I planted one here. Say hi, Gypsy. And I planted one over there. The one I planted over there died. So I ordered another one that I think is the same color as this, and replanted it yesterday. Out of breath again. This, I'm kind of proud of this. Every year I get my mother a mandevilla for Mother's Day, and usually get me one too. And this is last year's mandevilla. I kept it in the greenhouse. I kept it alive all year, and it is really, really pretty. I need to tie it up, but we are about to finish out our deck. We'll go around the pool, and then we're going to get all new railing. And I hated to get that wrapped around there and entwined, and then have to break it or cut it off or damage it in some way. So I'm just kind of letting it do what it wants to right now. These are my strawberries. Let's see, I think I saw one this morning. Yeah, and these are small this year because I started them last fall, but let me see if he looks. No, I think he can go a little more, don't you? So, and there's more coming on. And what I'm doing, as these runners come off, I'm taking them like I did here, and I'll put them in the dirt, and they'll create another strawberry plant, because that's just how strawberries work. So I think it's doing really well this year. I'm proud of it. This is zinnias that I've planted. This is lemongrass that's coming back from last year, but it's coming back real slow. I'll probably buy plants for that from now on. I didn't have any lemon balm started, so I stuck some seeds in here. But I looked at that up the other day on my plant finder. That ain't obviously it's not lemon balm. It is it's a gourd that I planted last year in the garden. And I had seeds everywhere. And I guess it just volunteered in there. So I'm trying to debate whether I'm going to pull it out and throw it away or take it up to the garden. It grows for 20 feet, so I need to put it somewhere it can really grow. This is garlic chives. These are random things that came up from last year. I'm not 100% sure what they are. I'm thinking this may be a cosmos, and those are some, excuse me guys, sorry. This is some, I think it's a zinnia, but I just saw something. I think that is lemon balm. We'll see. And I'm not sure what's going on here. Whatever that was got ate by something. Don't know what. Guess I need to keep an eye on that. So then over here, this is the warm weather lettuce that I'm trying to grow. And it's growing. It's time to thin it out, and we'll see what happens. Don't know. I don't have a whole lot of degree of hope that that'll do well, but we will see. That's the little antenna stalk I planted yesterday. Those are cosmos trying to bloom. Aren't they going to be pretty? This is some kind of mint. I'm not sure what it is. It may be peppermint. That's what I'm thinking it is. Zinnias in all their glory. Check out that one. And off in the weeds, got one growing down there too. And then up here is this green stalk. Perfect. So in here, got some small round zucchini, and some mini peppers that are growing real slow. And these are mini cucumbers. Some nasturtium, some dill. This is going to be a little yellow tomato. It's going real slow too. And then cucamelon. The grandkids absolutely love cucamelon. They look like little watermelons, and they taste like a lemony cucumber. So, and this is a dwarf pepper that I have in here. So all this stuff's doing pretty well. Guys, I have a neighbor doing some sawing and cutting all morning, and I was trying to wait till he got done, but I think he's going to be working for a while, so we're just gonna work through it and hope it works. So I normally have this fencing up here, and me and Logan took it all down. We did that because it was a overgrown mess of creeping Charlie and all kinds of other stuff. And then we put some fresh compost in there. The goats got a hold of my peony. It'll survive. The rose, this is my new dawn rose. It was beautifully in bloom, but it needs some tending. And it's got purple clematis growing in there too. And this guy right here is a Confederate rose that my uncle gave me before he passed away. I really like it. That's the reason we dug up the tiger lilies. They were all right there where she's digging. Hey, Gypsy, don't do that, baby. Good girl. So in the fall, because this was supposed to get to be a great big thing, my Uncle Cantrell's was really big. So I'm in the fall, when it's not growing, I'm going to move it over so it has more room to grow there. I don't know much about the Confederate rose, so if you guys do, let me know, please, because I really want that to do well. So this eyesore here, we have a Bradford pear that fell here on the porch a couple of years ago. And when they were cutting down the stump, what I could see in my vision, what I envisioned for it was like put a little fairy door on there and a tin roof and flowers all around, and kind of make it a little kind of a fairy garden area for me and for my grandkids. I can see this actually from my kitchen window. So, but over the last year, the roots, this tree really wanted to grow. drilled holes in it and poured Epsom salts and everything to try to kill it completely, because the roots just come up all over this area. So we had a load of tree mulch dumped from one of our local people. Gypsy, come on, get out of there. And me and Logan dug all that up and weeded it down to the roots again, because we'd already done that once, and put cardboard down, a thick layer of cardboard, and then put down mulch. The tractor is still there, along with the mulch over there, and I want to put a thicker layer on here to see if I can kill those roots and keep them from coming back. Because what I see in here is maybe a perfect storm hibiscus, and then some different kind of annual flowers in here. I think that'll be really pretty. And then again, still putting the fairy door on there. Wouldn't that be cool, y'all? What do you think? All right, so we're gonna go right up here under my river birch, one of my favorite trees on the farm. It's weeping willowish to me. I like it. But this is where our apple orchard is, and as you can see, we have a few apples, not many. Let's see if I can back up a little bit where you can see, but there's a few on both of them, on both of these, and then there's actually one more over there and two more over here. Normally we get a whole lot of apples. Maybe they're just tired, because we're just not getting that many this year. This is one of the Nanking cherries. It's grown. It was not higher than that little wire enclosure when we put it out here, and it's just been out here about 2 weeks. Anyway, I'm real pleased with how the Nanking cherry has grown. It's doing really, really well there. So, and we've got the 5 apple trees producing a little bit, not a lot, not nearly what they normally do, but that's okay. That's how that works. Some days it does, and some years you get a lot, and some years you don't. This is a cherry tree that my husband planted last year. It's grown quite a bit, but you see all that? I made the mistake of letting the goats out here, thinking they could help with some of the brush in the area over there. And I'm just glad this cherry tree's still alive. It survived. But the goats they tried real hard to kill it, I think. They ate all of the limbs off of it. And look at this. With all the rain we've had and the fertilizing, these Nanking cherries have grown, maybe 6 inches since we put them out. They're doing really well. I'm so pleased. So pleased. Apple tree, that big guy right there is a cherry tree. So it blooms profusely every spring, and I think we're gonna get cherries. It's a sweet cherry tree. And what happens? We get an early frost, or we get a frost at regular time for us. And so we probably won't ever get cherries off of this tree unless we have unless the frost kind of ends early. We have early warm weather. So but maybe someday. Maybe someday. In the meantime, we'll have the Nanking cherries. This is the peach tree we planted last year. Last year we had a bunch of peaches. This year there's not a one. Not a one. I think our issue may be that sucker that we've let grow into a whole nother tree. So I'm going to do some research and see how to fix that in the fall. So. These have grown quite a bit just since I was out here. These are the muscadines. Look at all those. I think we're going to have a nice little muscadine harvest. So you see these right here? Last time I looked, that's what they all look like. And it's not been that long. They're growing really fast. Another reason I have to keep the goats out of the yard. We're going to trim it because it's growing way over here. We'll trim it next year. It's okay for this year because the baby cotton candy grape that we're babying like everything is right here. So she's got a long way to go to get up here where she'll be a hindrance to the muscadine. So this year we'll just let the muscadine do its thing, and next year we'll do it, change it up. Right back here we have, that is a thornless blackberry, and we're supposed to have two. I haven't been out here since he planted them. Oh, I see it. Those one's hid. They need something around them so they don't get mowed over. There's the other one. So hopefully those will do well. We'll see. We will see. We will see. So thornless blackberries, muscadines, cotton candy grape. This mess right here, when I get my energy back, is going to be a moon garden. I'm putting a trampoline on its side right here for an entrance, putting all white flowers in it. We started cleaning everything out, and then it was one of those situations where I was having a good day, got out here and worked, couldn't do it no more. And then this is where everything stopped, and now it's grown back. So I'll have to start over. But I think it's got pea gravel in there. I've not ever been a fan of pea gravel. I don't like it. But ChatGPT told me that was a good thing. He told me just to put down a big thick load, like 6 inches of mulch, like tree mulch, like we got over there on that stump area. Tree mulch out here, and then put compost on top of that. And another good thick layer. In a year or so, it should be good. There's a knockout rose back there, a great big one, a red one, that I got to move somewhere. I just don't know where. Blackberry vines would literally run us out of our homestead completely if I let them. So this is the back side of the blueberries. Let's see if I can find one that I want to try and eat, because the big ones are real sweet. See, look how pretty that is. And they're not all ripe, especially back here. But they're getting there. They're getting there. We got 3 big old blueberry bushes, and we normally get enough blueberries to last us through the year. This is another one of those areas I have to work on when I have a little more strength. It's a lot of blackberry vines and things I didn't want the grandkids to have to get hurt on, so I haven't asked them to help with that. And you can kind of get a little look at some of the goats that are out here. Yeah, those are Trixie's 3. She has 2 boys there, and that little brown one right there, that's the one I call Toodles. Part of me wants to keep her, and if I end up getting rid of what's her name? Trixie, then I will do that. But this was mowed, like, just a few days ago, and it's grown up. This is a beautiful pink rose on one side, and the other side has been a struggle. Not sure why. I think the way this bed is sitting, I think the nutrients are all running out, like I talked about in the other bed. So we've put a bunch of compost and worm castings in there, and it's definitely growing. I've got some nice growth on there, but it's not quite there yet. And I planted basil in both these beds, and over in this one, it's only coming up in spots. Another reason I think I may need to amend the soil a little bit better. Keep in mind, these beds were neglected for almost 2 years. Mint is ready to be harvested. It's time to make some pesto, y'all. But man, I don't even have a good sense of smell, and I smell it. That smells so good walking right in here. So, okay, now this is the red tomato bed. I had onions planted in here. I pulled an onion and didn't take it in the house. And I swear, y'all, I weeded this bed 2 days ago. And look at the junk in there. Okay. Anyway, looks like there's some random basil growing in there, and I may just let it. We'll see. Let's see if I can see. One of these had a decent sized tomato on it the other day. There right back there's a little cluster of 3 or 4 little ones. So think these are Mr. Stripies, so they'll be a good size tomato. So some nice flowers on there, but see, I'm kind of behind. It's also way past time. These all need to be tied back up. Got some nasturtiums doing really well. Oh, these are edible. They taste like pepper. But these are, on this bed, I've got green, like bell peppers in different colors up here. There's 1, 2, 3 over here. And I planted something there. I'm thinking it was marigolds. I'm not sure what that is. But, and then up here, all 3 of these are Dr. Witchy's. And there's some pretty decent sized tomatoes right there. Check that out, y'all. Oh, I'm kind of getting excited. Look at that. I got an actual decent green tomato there. This, I was gonna pull out, and I looked at my plant finder to see what it was, and it said it was amaranth. And I planted amaranth in another bed 2 years ago. So I'm gonna let it grow a little bit and see what it does. I normally plant a sunflower in the corners of all the beds, but this one I only have the one coming up there. I don't know why. So this bed is where I grew the like gourds and trombocini squash and that kind of thing last year. And when like I said, keep in mind, all these were neglected. So when the blackberries were coming on, I told James, I said, let's just, rather than trying to cut them out now, it's just too late. Let's just harvest the blackberries, which is almost past time to do here. And after the season, we'll cut them down, and I'm going to put some some kind of black plastic, probably cardboard and black plastic down over the winter, and see if I can't kill some of that. Because blackberries wild blackberries are kind of hard to get rid of. I got that bigger at a yard sale a year or so ago and hadn't got any. I want solar lots in it and hadn't got them yet. Of course, if this thing is growing like it's supposed to, you wouldn't be able to get any sun in there. So these beds right here, this one and that one are the low beds I was talking about that I have really struggled with this year. So we did sweet potatoes in straw bales. We've done that one time before and got a really nice harvest. So we're trying it again, and I'm trying to grow, this is my husband's project. We're trying to grow them up the trail, though we got some kind of pest I can see. There's holes in them, so we got some kind of pest eating those. We'll have to look into that. See if we can figure out what's doing that. But I'm wanting them to grow up over the trellis so I can harvest the leaves. Sweet potato leaves, y'all, are delicious. If you cook them like we do collard greens in the South, they are really, really good that way. They're a little sweeter than collard greens. I absolutely love them. This is a sage plant that comes back every year. It's doing really well, but it needs some work. And I have weeded and cleaned out this bed and forgot, and then didn't get the mulch on it 3 times. And I planted rattlesnake beans here, and I just see a handful that have come up. But if a handful's all I get this year, a handful's all I get. Normally that covers the bed and it almost makes it fall down. I really do think it may just be that all the nutrients are washing out because the bed is so low, and that the soil has washed out, and that it probably needs to be higher. Like these beds, I never have a lot of weeds in. I don't have any issues with things growing in them, but these low ones I'm struggling with. It may just be because they were neglected. Excuse the mess here, guys. Wind blew over my ladder. This is a pineapple sage that I'm trying to decide if I can save. It normally comes back every year too, and it's really pretty. But I'm going to have to feel like getting in there and doing some work. And then I've got a few Kentucky Wonder Beans coming up. Same thing as the other side. I weeded it all and didn't put some more compost down, but I didn't get any mulch down, so the weeds just blew right in. Got in there. So the plan here in this bed was I need to get out here today and do some work here, because I planted cucamelon on all 4 corners. Excuse me, I got an airplane up there. On all 4 corners of the ladder when it was standing up. I'm not sure what that is, but probably some kind of weed. And I can't tell if I have cucamelons coming up here or not, but my grandkids really love them, and they make a really pretty vine and normally grow real well. So that could be. That looks cucumberish, don't it? And so does that one. So I might have 2 coming up. We'll see, but I got to get all the other stuff out of here. And then in the midst of all that, I planted some red. Oh, this is just overwhelming to plant things and not have the strength to do the mulch on them. So then you have this. But I did plant, I've got okra growing here. I have okra growing here. Several. And I need to get out here and probably this evening and try to save them before they get taken over. And I actually have some more okra to go down there. Okra is usually pretty hardy, so I don't usually have to worry a whole lot about the weeds overtaking them. But this is a lot of weeds coming in here, so I think I need to get out here and do some work this evening. It's nice and cool today compared to what it has been. And my sunflower is going to have to be tied up. It's laying down. So I'll go get a doohickey and hang it back up. So ChatGPT, I have struggled with zucchini for several years. The vine borers and squash bugs get them every year. So the suggestion was to plant it later. So I did. And this is I don't know if I'm pronouncing right, gazelle, and they're kind of striped zucchinis. And it's doing really, really well. And I have another small one. But these are black beauties right down here and right down here. You can't see them because I have black cherry tomatoes hanging down everywhere. So this whole row is black cherry tomatoes. There's a cluster right in there. They are normally the first ones that grow. And there's another black beauty zucchini. So they're so far so good. Not losing them. And then look at all the flowers on that one. All of these things I try to fertilize with diluted fish emulsion every 2 weeks. And it is time to do that again. Okay. This whole row is silver slicer cucumbers. I always get more than I need, so there's one right in there. And there's a big one there. There's some big ones. Yeah, I think this evening I'll be harvesting cucumbers and doing some weeding. I can't really, the bumblebees don't like me to harvest during the day, in the heat of the day, because they like to get the flowers. And I'm kind of okay with that. But look at there. There's a bunch of them in there. Unless I don't get stung. Look at all that. So many. So many. If I had a tomato ready, I would be going in and having a tomato sandwich. There's a cayenne pepper right there. They come back every year. I never have to plant those, ever. This is a Seminole pumpkin. If you've not ever had a Seminole pumpkin, they are sweet. They're the sweetest pie pumpkins I've ever had. They're small, they're just a pie pumpkin. They are just amazing. These are the yellow. Let's let the airplane get by. These are my yellow tomatoes. I'm not even sure what that one is. I think it's a Jubilee. So I had a yellow tomato die right there, and I wanted to plant some cowpeas somewhere. So rather than putting another yellow tomato in, I just put in some cowpeas. And this will be not a peanut peppers, and that one will be Craig's Grande jalapeno peppers, because my family likes jalapenos and I like jalapenos. I don't like them super hot. So that way when I make cowboy candy, I can make some for me that I can enjoy too. I don't remember what these are. I see some starting on those, but these tomatoes here, man, it's going crazy right now. I've got to get out here and do some work like tonight. See, this anemia, this can't happen. I have to get better like real fast. Y'all pray that this stuff kicks in quickly, because I'm going to start losing stuff. But these are Dr. Witchy's. They make a really pretty, yummy yellow tomato. But these all have to be tied back up and pruned. They are out of control. And we got a thorny blackberry vine in there that I can't get out when I don't have gloves on. So let's look at this side. This is the sunny side of the blueberries, y'all. Look at there. I think I got enough to make a pie. If I feel like harvesting some before I go in My husband may get a pie tonight. Because these are sweet and they're big and they're so yummy. So many. And that's not near what it'll be, just, soon, at all. Wow. All right. There's my Greenworks lawnmower. Y'all, I love that. It's what I can manage. Now, these are the zinnias that are, a few of them coming up, not many. Still got a bunch of weeds in there coming up. That's my asparagus bed. They said just to let it do its thing. That's what I'm doing. This is where I planted the 3 new rhubarbs. Those are gone. I don't know what happened to them. I don't know if they just died or molded in, with all the rain or what. But I dug in there. There's not in there. I got one little bitty one coming. But they're pretty strong once they get started. I've been trying to start chamomile for several years. I finally had some chamomile going. I got some flowers almost. So this is supposed to be a perennial that comes back every year. What I've been told is once you get them started, that you can't get rid of them. I'll be happy with that. That'd make me happy. Because that's not been the case with me lately. That sad place is my strawberry bed. Let me rephrase that. That is my previous strawberry bed. Going forward, I'm probably going to have a covered strawberry bed right over there somewhere. This was my carrot bed in the spring. And I've got pumpkin on a stick. It's an ornamental pumpkin just used for decorating out here. And then I've got a couple of cantaloupes that have just started. Those haven't been in there long, so they're doing pretty good, I think. And then I planted some spaghetti squash here. I think my seeds must be bad. I see nothing. Nothing. So I probably need to buy some more spaghetti squash seeds because I really like those. So since my pole beans weren't doing very well this year, these are bush beans that I planted. I think they're called contender. I've not grown them before, but I'm pleased. They're growing really, really well. I used to grow things in that tire, but nothing ever grew very well down there except except cantaloupes do sometimes. Maybe I'll put a cantaloupe in there. This mess, full of weeds and wild morning glories and wild blackberry, is where I had potatoes growing. So it is time to dig those out. We've already dug some, but I told my husband when the rain stops, because you're really not supposed to dig potatoes when it's wet. When the rain stops, we have to get out here, and there's still one growing right there. That's a potato right there. So there's still a few in there poking up, but you're supposed to dig the potatoes after the plant dies. So the plant died. This is what I call my covert food. This is a Jerusalem artichoke, or lovingly also named a fartichoke. You eat the roots like a potato, and it'll grow, and these will make beautiful sunflower-like flowers. And they multiply, so you want to put them in something. And even if you put them in something, as you can see, they still try to multiply. So they need to be contained. So, let's see how I planted 6 Egyptian onions, and I've got water in here, but they seem to be having a hard time getting going. Has anybody grown Egyptian walking onions? Because I really want these to do well. Advice, please, if you know anything about those. I would love the advice. This U-shaped bed, as you'll hear me calling it now, is probably my next big project, because I want this to be an herb garden. I had a high tunnel there. There was the top. The whole thing blew off in a windstorm when I had lots of food in there. And I have decided to turn this in to a herb garden. So I'm going to put the bee balm in here. I'm going to put things like comfrey. I've already got some comfrey over there, and some borage. some parsley in the weeds there. I planted some thyme. I can't say, is it thyme? I think it's thyme. It's coming up there. Planted some dill, but this didn't have water for, it rained and rained, but it didn't have water for a few days. So I've got a few things started here, but I want this to be all herbs at this point. So I think there's a squash growing up here that I planted at some point. It's hanging in there, so I'll probably let him grow this year. So while I was up here though, I wanted to, I got distracted. Let's walk back up here past the chickens. Chickens. Let's see if I can get up here where you can see. That big guy there is my rooster. He's been my rooster for several years and has done a good job. We had a son. We had too many roosters for a little bit, so we had to find homes. And we have 3 somewhere little chicks in here that Hazel, my granddaughter Hazel, hatched out of the incubator for a homeschool science project. And then this mess of stuff we think grow up because we have occasionally had issues with hawks, and the chickens can hide in that and get away from hawks. Of course, they can also go in the house, but those little chicks are probably in there. They hide. But I'm wanting to get up here and try to show you, if I can. Oh my goodness, guys, I have an issue. I have goats on the other side of the fence. Thank goodness my husband will be home soon. All right, but what I'm trying to show you, I don't know if I can get close enough. That's Maggie May. The fence has been an issue. See if I can get it this way. That's Gideon. That's Gideon. So he is just about 5 days old and doing really well. Doing really well. And those goats on the other side of the neighbor's fence, that's Trixie and her babies. I'm hoping Esme's not out there, but she probably is. They found a way out again. Goats are masters of finding their way out. That's Priscilla coming to say hi. And this little guy here, if I can focus, he's not one we're keeping, but he's real friendly, and I call him Buddy. Hey, baby girl. Hey, baby. You need to tell Tracy to get her and the babies back in. I'm not sure how they got out there. Not cool. Not cool. All right. It's always something. I knew there was some way they could get out, because one of them, the little black and white one I call Yellowstone/Belle, was in the garden yesterday. We looked and didn't see how they was getting out, but apparently they know where it is now. So after a little work, we got all the baby goats back in the barn where they belong, and Esme needed feeding, so Logan took care of that. We're keeping him in the barn for now, while Maggie May's in the barnyard, just so she don't kick anybody or hurt anybody. Hey y'all, I almost forgot to do an outro and say bye to y'all. We have had a very long, hot day working in the sun, and we are tired and about to come in and have some dinner. So my hands, see my hands? I used to be a nail tech, y'all. This is not what a nail tech's hands should look like. So, but we cleaned up several beds and got all the weeds out, and we planted some Swiss chard, and me and Logan planted the tiger lilies that we dug up from the other bed the other day. So we got quite a bit done. He's gone now to, Logan is gone to back to the garden to harvest some cucumbers, because we forgot to do that while we were out there. And we want to have cucumbers with our dinner. Tomorrow we're going to do potatoes and plant some ginger and some collard greens and clean up my green bean bed and see if we can't get that to do a little bit better. And we're going to put mulch, the straw mulch over everything. So we had another goat to get out and get into the garden. So my husband James he came home from work and put electric wire. It was around the top of the fence, and he moved it and put it to the bottom so they can't get under. So hopefully that'll fix our issue. And maybe we have somebody looking at the 2 girls we're trying to sell. So anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with Misty Ridge Homestead. We hope you'll come back and see us again sometime. Y'all be blessed now. Bye.